Okay, the reading for this week is the Hannya shingyō, often called the Heart Sutra in English translation. And behind me is this tablet of the Heart Sutra that I bought yesterday at a neighborhood art shop, antique shop. And so I thought I would do a recitation of the Hannya shingyō, the Japanese reading of the Chinese characters, 26 characters, no, more than that, I forget how many characters. I'll put all the information about this sutra and about the historical background, about its origins and development, about its influence on Japanese culture and literature, which is enormous. I'll put all that information in the study guide and in my commentary to the study guide. So I'll make a second video in this series. In this video I just want to do a recitation of the work of the sutra in Japanese and then in the English translation that I have here. Alright, before I do the Japanese reading, let's just go through a few of the terms that are important. There's kanji, it begins with kanji zai bosatsu, and this is the kannon bosatsu, right? In Japanese kannon, in Chinese guanyin. This is the bodhisattva of compassion, major bodhisattva in Japanese Buddhism, in Mahayana Buddhism in general. Yes, another term that is important is gyojin. Appears a few times, means profound practice. I won't give you the Sanskrit, but remember that this was originally written probably around 700 or 800 BC in India, in Sanskrit, in the India area. In Sanskrit is the original language, and Pali then after that, and then eventually made its way to China, and was written into Chinese characters, and then eventually came to Japan around the Nara period. Okay, and then Kukai wrote a famous treatise about the work, explicating its meaning and so forth. But I'll explain all that in the next video. Gyojin, profound practice. Hanya haramita appears a few times. That's great wisdom. Jisho ken, ji means when. Sho is to illuminate, and ken is to see. We see these three characters lined up in a row at least once. Jisho ken. Go-on kaiku. Go-on means the five aggregates, so the five elements, which I'll discuss in the next video, but these are the five elements that make up human perception, human sensory perception. Kaiku, written with the kanjis minna, and ku, sora, ku, emptiness. Everything is ku. Kaiku, everything is emptiness. All beings and all phenomena may appear real, but they are in fact ku, emptiness. Another term that appears, do issai KUYAKU, means thus, all things, all beings, issai, to help and to save, KUYAKU, okay, to help and save from their suffering. Sharishi appears a few times. This is a proper noun. Shariputra, the clever disciple whom Buddha is addressing in the sutra. Okay, so Sharishi asks the Kannon Bosatsu a question, and the Kannon Bosatsu, or the Buddha rather, explains. So 95% of the sutra is a sort of, in quotations, as a response to Sharishi's question. Shiki fu I ku ku fu I shiki, phenomena, shiki, written with the kanji for color, right? Shiki means visible phenomena, the phenomena of this world. Phenomena are not different than the fundamental cosmic essence, is the translation of this phrase. Shiki fu I ku ku fu I shiki. Phenomena are not different than the fundamental cosmic essence, which is, of course, ku, or emptiness. Ku, or emptiness, is not different than phenomena. And a similar phrase that appears is the following: Shiki soku ze ku ku soku ze shiki. Probably the most famous phrase in this sutra, and in all of Mahayana Buddhism perhaps. You see in modern Japanese literature as well, Koda Rohan, for example, many of his works are sort of elaborations of this essential truth of Buddhism that is contained in this phrase, Shiki soku ze ku ku soku ze shiki, which means phenomena, shiki, in themselves, soku, are always ku, are all ku, emptiness. Ku, conversely, in itself, is phenomena. So there's no distinction between ku and phenomena, shiki and ku. Ku equals shiki, shiki equals ku. They're not to be distinguished, is the point of that. Another is ju, so, gyo, shiki, yaku, bu, nyo, ze, perception, or ju, thought, so, action, gyo, consciousness, shiki, and so forth. Perception, thought, action, consciousness, and so forth. Yaku, bu, no, ze. Alright, these are, yes. Shadishi, we've already mentioned that. Shadiputra, the proper name. Ze, sho, ho, ku, so is an important phrase that appears. This means all that exists has the aspects of ku, or emptiness. What is the nature of ku? The Hanya Shingyo goes on to explain then. Fu, sho, fu, meta, fu, ku, fu, jo, fu, zo, fu, geng. That phrase which means not born, not created. So this is sort of a definition of emptiness, or ku, that is given here. So what is ku? Ku means not born, neither born nor created. Fu, sho, not ended, not disappeared. Okay, fu, sho, fu, meta. So neither born or created, nor ended or disappeared. Okay, so things don't come into existence out of their own, out of the blue, and they do not end their existence out of the blue on their own. Right? All things are interconnected. This is the basic theory, or okay, and thus without beginning or end, fu, meta, not pure, not increasing, not diminishing. Fu, jo, fu, so, fu, geng. The doctrine of codependence is the word I was looking for. That, yes, okay. Another phrase that is important. Let's see. Do we have time to read all of these? Okay, just very briefly now. Ze, ko, ku. Alright, so let's see. Hold on. Okay, very briefly. I want to get to the recitation as soon as possible. Ze, ko, ku, chu, mu, shiki, mu, ju, so, gyo, shiki is another phrase that appears. This means, thus in emptiness, ku, there are no 5 elements, the goong. They don't exist. Namely, sensations of forms such as color, shape, and texture is one of the 5 aggregates, or the 5 elements, the goong. There's no color, shape, or texture, which are the translations of shiki. There is no, number 2 is perception. This does not exist either in conventional reality. There is no conceptualization, soul, right? The kanji for soul, to omo, soul. Voluntary action, that doesn't exist either. That's gyo. Or consciousness, shiki. Not the kanji for iro, but the other shiki. Ishiki no shiki. So these 5 things are the 5 aggregates, and they do not exist. Namely, shiki, ju, so, gyo, consciousness, shiki. They don't exist. Okay, next phrase, mugen ni bi zeshin I. There are no 6 roots of perception either. Neither, namely, sight of the eyes, geng, right, the kanji for me, the more difficult kanji for me, geng. Sight or the eyes do not exist either, or they don't have roots. Hearing or the ears, kanji for mimi, is read ni in the sutra. That doesn't exist either. Smell or the nose, bi, hana te kaite. Bi doesn't exist either. Speech and taste or the mouth. Speech, taste, the mouth. Zetsu is the kanji. Pronounced zet, doesn't exist either. Touch or the body, shin, shintai no shin, doesn't exist either. And consciousness itself, or intent, could be translated as I, of ishiki, does not exist either. These are the 6 roots of perception, and they do not exist either. Or they have only conventional reality rather than ultimate reality. This distinction between the 2 realities. Next is mu, shiki, sho, ko, mi, soku, ho. There are no 6 objects of perception and knowledge, which are color, shiki, sound, sho, smell, ko, taste, soku, touch, ho, or concept, ho. Written for horitsu no ho, I think. Thus, ku is not born and not ended. So emptiness does not come into existence, doesn't end. It is not impure or impure. It is neither pure nor impure. It is neither increasing nor decreasing. In ku there are no 5 aggregates, no 6 organs, and no 6 objects of perception. All of those things belong to conventional reality rather than ultimate reality, which is emptiness. Next, mu genkai naishi. There is no domain of perception, genkai and so forth. Naishi, in modern Japanese it means or, here it means and so forth. Nor is there the domain of perception, nor by implication the 6 objects of perception. Alright, next, mu-ishiki-kai, mu-ishiki-kai. There is no world of 6 consciousnesses, of eyes, ears, nose, mouth, body, and will, or consciousnesses of consciousness, so these don't exist either. Next, there is no ignorance, mumyo, right? Mumyo means, is the kanji for mu, nothing with me, akari. Mumyo, there is no ignorance, mumyo, and no extinction of ignorance. There's neither mumyo nor mujing. Mumyo yaku mumyo jing is this phrase here that appears at least once. This passage refers to the 12 interdependent causes, innen, or causal links in Buddhism, the karmic causal links. Next phrase, naishi muroshi yaku muroshi jing. There is neither old age or death, nor the extinction of old age, no extinction of death, and so on, naishi. For the 12 causal links, or interdependent causes, the innen. Alright, so there is no old age and no death, no extinction of old age. So these are all, it's just basically a list of binaries, right? A and B are a binary, but there is neither A nor B, right? And then he goes to the next binary, C and D. There is neither C nor D. Then he goes to the next binary, death and life, for example. There is neither death nor life, and so forth. That's sort of the major structure of the text of the sutra. Moving on. Next we have the mu, ku, shu, metsu, do. There are no mu, the 4 noble truths, namely no suffering, ku, no source of suffering, the ju, no end of suffering, metsu, and no way to end suffering. Okay, so these are the 4 noble truths, the sort of fundamental pillar or teaching of Buddhism, which says all is suffering and so forth on in 4 steps, and the way out of suffering is the following, is the final step in that. It's the major teaching in Buddhism, and this sutra is basically rejecting that teaching. It's saying there are no 4 noble truths. Even the 4 noble truths, which we generally regard as fundamental to our understanding of ultimate reality, even these belong to the realm of conventional reality, not ultimate reality. So it's rejecting even the foundations of Buddhism in this sutra. It's sort of pure nihilism in the good sense, in a very what Nietzsche would call the aggressive sense, or the non-passive sense of nihilism. Suffering arises from bonno, right, which are the worldly passions, bonno, which may be the search to satisfy our desires, the descent into materialism and so forth, or conversely the flight from desires in the material world, their negation. So you can have bonno toward enlightenment, for example. There are 8 methods to return to the healthy condition of Nihon, to the condition of Nihon. These are the 8-fold paths. Okay, so the 4 noble truths. The 4th of the 4 noble truths says, in order to get to this point where you overcome suffering, follow the 8-fold path, and it directs you to the 8-fold path. But even these belong to the realm of conventional knowledge. And the 8-fold path of the Buddhist teaching are the following: the right view, the right thoughts and opinions, the right or correct speech, right or correct action, right living, livelihood, right effort, right or correct faith, shinjiru koto, and right concentration. Right? I think these are all sho whatever. Shoken is right view in Japanese. Sho, what's the right thoughts is sho shiki or something like that. Right speech is shogen, I think. Right action is shogyo. Right livelihood is perhaps right, I forget. But yes, these are the 8-fold path of the Buddha's teaching. Okay, we're almost done here with the terms. Moving on. Mu, chi, yaku, mu, toka. There is no wisdom and no profit. Yaku is wisdom. Remember, this word appears a lot in the sutra. There is no wisdom and no profit, toka. This leads to the central essential passage that follows, right? And we have I mu shoku, I mu sho toku ko Thus it is mushotoka. This is the key phrase of the entire sutra, mushotoka. So thus it is mushotoka. What is mushotoka? This means there is no goal. There is nothing to obtain. Mushotoka. All the preceding phrases have led up to introducing this concept through a succession of negatives. Okay, so the sutra goes, so there is neither A nor B. There is neither C nor D. There is neither E nor F. There is neither G nor H. But there is this. Thus it is mushotoka. There is no goal. There is nothing to obtain. All the preceding pages left to this, everything that follows shows the crucial nature of mushotoka. The great wisdom, the paramita that appears several times in the sutra, is at once the direct consequence of mushotoka and the way to achieve it. Okay, thus it is mushotoka, key word of the text, and everything that follows after the word mushotoka appears shows the crucial nature of the mushotoka. The great wisdom is at once the direct consequence of mushotoka and the way to achieve it. Alright, next 6 or 7 more key phrases. Bodhisatta ehyeh paramita ko. So these are the phrases that appear at the end. This means thus the bodhisattva through ehyeh paramita, which as we just confirmed means the great wisdom. So thus the bodhisattva through the great wisdom, or ehyeh paramita. Next phrase is shinmu-ke-ge. This means to have a mind without obstacle. Alright, shinmu-ke-ge. This difficult kanji ke and ge appear toward the end 2 or 3 times. And then mu-ke-ge-ko, thus, being thus without obstacles, such a kind of repetition of the earlier phrase. And then mu-u-kufu. Kufu is kyofu, written the kanji for to fear, right? Pronounced here kufu. Fear has no existence, is this phrase. Fear, even fear, is conventional, doesn't have any ultimate reality. Next phrase, only issai tendo muso. Bodhisattva is separate from all issai, from all. Issai means all, right? Disturbing emotion. Tendo, written for the kanji tento, to topple over, is the current reading meaning of that. But it originally meant disturbing emotion. And all illusion. Okay, bodhisattva is distinct or separate from all disturbing emotion, tendo, and all illusion, muso. So the bodhisattva is the absence of those 2 things. Next, kugyo nehang. Finally, kugyo attains nirvana, nehang. So once you get to this point, you will have attained nirvana, is the point of this passage. Then we have Sanze Shobitsa, the Buddhas or patriarchs, Shobitsa, of the 3 worlds, Sanze, of past, present, and future. Okay, the 3 Buddhas or patriarchs, the Shobitsa appears there. Then we have ehyeh paramita ko, by means of depending on ehyeh paramita, which we just discussed, means the great wisdom. So by means of the great wisdom, we will get to the point of Nehan if you do everything right, is what it's saying. And if you come to realize these fundamental truths of this sutra. Then we have Toku Anoku Tarda Sangmyaku Sangbodai, which means to attain the highest satori, or enlightenment. And then the final phrase here, 2 more phrases here. Kochi ehyeh paramita. Therefore, kochi means therefore, hence, you should understand that ehyeh shingyō, that ultimate, the great wisdom, the ehyeh, or the ehyeh shingyō sutra, rather. And, we have several more here. Zeidai Jinshu is the great universal sutra. Zeidai Jinshu. Jing or Xing is the god or the divine. Shu or Ju is the mantra, the sacred word or phrase. The next phrase is Ze Dai Myo Shu, means the great brilliant sutra. Ze Mu Jo Shu means the highest sutra, the unsurpassable sutra. ぜむとどし means the incomparable sutra. So just giving descriptions of what this sutra is at the very end to reinforce what it is said thus far. No jo isaiku, it is possible to cut through all suffering. Okay, so you're in a state of suffering, but you're not limited to it. There's a way out, namely the truth that this sutra evinces. Shingyō fuko, in the authentic truth there is no error. KU.SHA therefore I proclaim that the sutra of Hannya Sokusetsu that this sutra says, and then the final line, climactic line, which everyone knows by heart. Gyate gyate hara so gyate boji sowaka. Go beyond. Go together beyond the beyond, to the shore of Satori. Okay, now I will recite the sutra with the help of some girls reciting the sutra in the background. They will be providing the background, and I will follow along with them. Okay, and you can follow along here. I will have the pronunciations written down there so you can read along with it. Ready? And let's put the volume up all the way. Make it nice and loud. There we go, and here we go. Okay, start over. shingyō. It's about 3 minutes. Kanji zai bosa kyōshin hanya hara mitaji shoken gou kaiku do issai KUYAKU.SHA shiki fuiku fui shiki soku zeku soku zeku sogyo shiki yaku fujyo ze shari ze shohokusho fusho fumetsu fujiu fuso fumetsu gyokuchu mushiki muju sogyo shiki mugan nijize shinyi mushiki shoko mitsukugo mugenkai naishi muishikikai mumyaku mumyojin naishi muroshiyaku muroshijin mukushu metsudo muchiyaku mutoku itsu shotoku koku daisata ehanya haramita ko shinmugeke mugekeo muyukufu only issai dendo muso kuryode hansan ze shobu ehanya haranita ko tokugetsu ganjitsenzeudai kochi hanya haramita boedai jinshu zeidai myoshu zemu joshu zemu totoshu nojo issai shinjitsu fukyo gosetsu ranya haramita sokusetsu shuraku kente gyate haran gyate haran jute Sodai Sata Panya shingyō. Okay, and here is a translation by Professor C.G. Bower, and I'll have the link to that. And there are hundreds of, at least dozens of English translations of the Heart Sutra, of the Hanya Shingyo, and many of them are very good, but I like this one because it's sort of explanatory. It doesn't require excessive footnotes, and it kind of makes sense just reading through it. So let me read through it. It begins like this. The Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion. Okay, so Avalokiteshvara is the Sanskrit word for the Kannon Bosatsu in Japanese, or Guanyin Bosatsu in Chinese. This Bodhisattva of compassion, meditating deeply on perfection of wisdom, another sutra, saw clearly that the five aspects or aggregates of human existence are empty, or ku, and so released himself from suffering. So as soon as you realize that the five aggregates of human existence are empty, you will be released from suffering, is what's implied here. Answering the monk Sariputra, so Sariputra the monk asks him a question, the Bodhisattva of compassion, Kannon Bosatsu, responds thusly. And here, everything after this is a quotation. It's his response to the monk. Body is nothing more than emptiness. Emptiness is nothing more than body. The body is exactly empty, and emptiness is exactly body. The other four aspects of human existence, feeling, thought, will, and consciousness, are likewise nothing more than emptiness, and emptiness nothing more than they. All things are empty. Nothing is born, nothing dies. Nothing is pure, nothing is stained. Nothing increases and nothing decreases. So, in emptiness, there is no body, no feeling, no thought, no will, no consciousness. There are no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There is no seeing, no hearing, no smelling, no tasting, no touching, no imagining. There is nothing seen, nor heard, nor smelled, nor tasted, nor touched, nor imagined. There is no ignorance, and no end to ignorance. There is no old age and death, and no end to old age and death. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no end to suffering, no path to follow. And the path, of course, is a reference to the fourfold path. No path to follow. There is no attainment of wisdom, and no wisdom to attain. The Bodhisattvas rely on the perfection of wisdom, and so with no delusions they feel no fear, and have nirvana, nehang, here and now. All the Buddhas, past and present and future, rely on the perfection of wisdom, and live in full enlightenment. The perfection of wisdom is the greatest mantra. It is the clearest mantra, the highest mantra, the mantra that removes all suffering. This is truth that cannot be doubted. Say it so. Gate, gate, para, samgate, bodhi, swaha. Which means gone, gone, gone over, gone fully over, awakened, so be it. Okay, and at the end of his translation he provides a little footnote for the word emptiness, or ku, or in Sanskrit the word is sunyata, or shunyata, sometimes rendered in English, in Roman letters. Emptiness, he says, is the usual translation for the Buddhist term sunyata. It refers to the fact that no thing, including human existence itself, has ultimate substantiality, which in turn means that no thing is permanent and no thing is totally independent of everything else. Okay, so this is a reference to the doctrine of codependence, right? Everything is intermeshed with everything else. Nothing stands alone. No man is an island, and so forth. In other words, everything in this world is interconnected and in constant flux. A deep appreciation of this idea of emptiness thus saves us from the suffering caused by our egos, our attachments, and our resistance to change and loss. Right? Egos in Japanese is ga, so the idea of having no ga, no jiga, There's another way to say it in Japanese. Jiga is the self or the ego. And the doctrine of no self or no ego is the muga setsu, muga, having no ego. Attachment is a Buddhist term that mean in Japanese is shuchaku or shunen. And these are what ultimately prevent you from attaining enlightenment, and what cause you to suffer are your attachments to things of this world, to the desire for enlightenment included, and our resistance to change and loss. Change and loss, the fundamental reality of things, right? The idea that everything is always changing, nothing is tsune, nothing is jo, therefore the word in Japanese mujo, key word in Japanese Buddhism. Note, okay, that's all for now. In the second video, I will do a study guide that delves into this sutra a little more deeply, talks about the historical context and its uses and its influence on Japanese culture and literature and so forth. That is all for now. If you have any questions, email me. Goodbye.